So we've talked about insights, which is gaining knowledge about your customers and the products that you sell, and how they're perceived, how they're used. We've then, talked about our own identities, building a value proposition, designing and aligning those value propositions, having planks, managing our brand. All of that takes a lot of work. I get that, but hopefully, if we're moving along in that direction, we can really start innovating, and that's your third principle is innovation. Because once companies can get to a certain level, they can really create and put forth really great products and services that can align with their brands and with what their customers want. So I'm going to give each of you guys a chance. I'm going to pick Disney. I'm going to pick Google. And so Tim, I'll pick on you first, and I'll pick Google if that's okay.
Okay.
You write about how Google innovates, and Kristen, I'm coming from you next because I want to hear from you how Disney innovates. But let's talk about Google. Just tell us the story of why they're so innovative and what they've done to innovate.
I think there are a couple of specific things. Number one, they also are very much customer driven. So, they
Yeah.
use the data that they gain from us to continually refine and maximize and operate and innovate. So a lot of theirs is pretty straightforward. They've got the data right there. They say, hey, I know my customers behaving this way. They're using AI now. We haven't thought of, but we're relying on the data to tell us where to go. So it's a different thing. It's not a focus group per se, but they're very much data driven. The other thing they did culturally is they've walked away from this, but when they started in the earlier years, they gave a certain percentage of the time for their engineers to spend time doing anything that they wanted to do that they felt was going to help the company grow. So they gave them the time and the cultural reinforcement to say, spend time solving customers' problems. So even if this is your day job, we're going to carve out a certain amount of time. I don't know what percentage it was. I think it was 20% of the time
Right.
that you can focus on other areas. And so they did that. The other thing they did organizationally is they decided over the time to kind of provide some different layers. So they have like more think tank type businesses or day to day, but they did a very nice job structuring their business. But I guess at the end of the day, they have a cash cow, which is search.
Sure.
And they had a mindset of segmentation, targeting, positioning, concept development. Where better can we apply those dollars? And that's why they've grown so well, is they had this cash cow that allowed them to move into so many areas. And now they're the leaders in many businesses.
Sure. And they also have they had a unique approach towards their portfolio, their pipeline. They have that
Yeah,
70-20-10 model.
that's exactly right.
You explain
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah, 70% of their time was focused on the current business. How do we improve that? 20% was more kind of that next level out, things that are in the foreseeable future. And then 10% of their time was like breakthrough stuff, which now, allows them to lead the industry in, auto driving and some of the healthcare stuff, things that were just a glimmer of an idea 10 years ago are now reality. And that's because they're always focused and always kind of spending time thinking about that 10%, like where are we going to be in 5 years or 10 years. That allows us to still focus on the main business, but apply the amount of resource so we're always looking forward.